The disdain I have for live service games runs deeper than a no-maps hard drive. It is not just normal frustration, it is genuine hatred ignited from the way that these games have shaped the gaming industry for the worse, destroying gameplay quality and effectively destroying any excitement that I have for any future AAA titles, especially in the multiplayer category. I can't commit to any of them, and neither can you. First, let's delve into the heart of the issue, which is the excessive amount of live service games in the industry. So many of these titles have weaseled their ways into the industry in one way or another. No longer do we live in an era where developers make a game that they believe is good and just allow it to naturally evolve and cater to the player's preferences. Instead, games are now meticulously developed to extend playtime, all in the name of financial gain. This trend has resulted in a reality where the joy of gaming is overshadowed by the necessity of long-term commitment. I now understand how polyamorous people feel. Since we are forcefully fed so many options, it leads to what is called the paradox of choice. With such a plethora of options, we find ourselves paralyzed, unable to commit to any games at all. The precious hours that we possess in our lives have become a battleground between which lazy AAA developers can make the most mind-numbing experience that makes the most money. It is so unreasonable for developers to expect us to commit hundreds upon hundreds of hours to so many games. Is it wrong that I just want to have a game where I can just pick up and play when I have the time? Is it wrong that I have other commitments outside of gaming that matter more to me that don't allow me to play these games every single day? And where it gets worse is the challenges. Now, don't get me wrong, I am all for having certain challenges where gamers are rewarded for being committed to games. But where it gets excessive for me is when it starts to feel like homework. Often, games put in daily, weekly, and even monthly challenges that encourage us to play the game in ways that we don't want to solely for the opportunity of good rewards. That, to me, gets frustrating after a while. And then there's seasonal challenges that have such astronomically high requirements in order to achieve them that only players who lack grass exposure are able to achieve them. Why do I have to feel like my job inhibits me from these fictional rewards? What about the connections and experience that we create in the real world? Those are now meaningless? Why do live service games expect such a high commitment to their games that it disallows us to experience some of the other great aspects of life? And all in the pursuit of some microtransaction filled glory that will inevitably be either cut from the game or removed in the next season. The unrealistic expectation that we as gamers should invest hundreds of hours into every new release that comes out from AAA developers is absurd. I often find myself reminiscing on the old days of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty Black Ops, where I didn't have to worry about missing out. I could go to school, do whatever I wanted to do, and pick up right where I left off. I miss the simplicity of just playing a game because it brought me joy, not because I had boxes to check. So what about when you inevitably do find a live service game to commit to? For context, my experience with live service games comes from Destiny 2, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, and GTA Online. I know, some of the most high quality live service games. The more and more these games have delved into live service, the more their quality has diminished. GTA Online is the closest, not really good, but closest out of all of these to creating consistent and engaging content. And this is just an exception, and it's most certainly not a rule. We live in an age where we're lucky because developers can now add in new things to the game to keep the game exciting. Updates should be a source of excitement, injecting fresh life into a video game. Yet more often than not, the enthusiasm that they initially generate fizzles out so fast. Updates become more like chores, a checklist of repetitive tasks to unlock bullshit rewards. In my experience, this is really apparent in Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege, where you go into the game, play this new game mode once, and go, well, that was cool, and never play it again. If it wasn't for challenges or rewards that were tied to the event, no one would play them. These updates will be abandoned after the first week, and the devs know it. The desire to play an update should just come from enjoyment of the mode, not wanting one cool weapon or a cool skin for many hours of useless grinding. And then there's Destiny, which charges $40 for content that could be finished in a week. I used to think that Microsoft or Activision Blizzard were the problem when they owned Bungie, but now I realize that Bungie is the real mastermind behind the madness. I laugh when people say that they want Bungie to get Halo back, because if Destiny 2 is any representation of how Halo would be, then Halo was just destined to die. But hold up, let's not ignore the curse of buggy and glitchy content coming from live service updates. It's amazing how, despite the advancement of technology allowing us to fix glitches and bugs in real time, we are consistently waterboarded with games riddled with glitches and issues. But it's okay, because the devs will fix them later, right? Right? And last but not least, the biggest problem with live service games, the microtransaction strategies that these games employ. Fortnite is probably the perfect example of predatory microtransactions because it directly markets to kids. Weirdly though, it also has one of the best battle pass systems that I have experienced. If you complete the battle pass in Fortnite, you not only get enough V-Bucks to get the next one for the next season, you can also splurge a little bit in the store. I have yet to encounter any other game with a better or even similar battle pass system. My experience is often purchasing the battle pass, completing it, and only getting half of the credits for the future pass, or sometimes none at all. This buy one get one half off system is amazing because I'm so happy companies ask me to fork out more and more of my money constantly when they don't even use it to make the game better. And my frustration peaks when the rewards are pay to win. GTA is probably the worst example of this, enabling players to buy weapons of mass destruction with overpriced shark cards. I think the funny thing out of all this is that my first experience with pay to win mechanics was mobile games. The days of Clash Royale, of facing level 13 cards in Spell Valley. Those were the days. Some of you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna leave this in here because Clash Royale has traumatized me so bad to where I can't even play mobile games anymore. I don't remember the last time that I was excited for a AAA multiplayer game. As my options lessen and lessen, I have resorted to playing older games on my Steam backlog. Not that I think that this is a bad thing, because going back to the classics has introduced me to some of my favorite franchises in gaming so far. But it does frustrate me that I can't get excited for a AAA multiplayer and sometimes even the single player games. I am honestly so excited for Riot's upcoming fighting game. I'm not a gambler, but I would bet money that this is going to be the first live service fighting game. Riot and Tencent execs are sitting there laughing at us right now because we have no idea what's on the horizon. It'll be interesting to see where the gaming industry goes, because with Rainbow dying and Overwatch dying, it leaves a pretty substantial hole in the gaming industry, because people who have brain cells are not just going to flock to Valorant or CSGO. There's only one live service game that can save us now, and it's none other than Splatoon 3.